Hello and welcome to the Feedback Show. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
How's it going, Dad?
Very well, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, you good? You
We're
had.
having some great. Sorry,
I was
what
just. I was.
have I
No,
had? A
you
what?
carry. You carry on. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I'm well into new ideas. We've been talking over the last 2 or 3 weeks about new ideas and the demonstration side of it. What we're basically doing is we're trying to emulate some of my demonstrations that I used to do when I was in workshops and art shows and so on. And we felt that it would be something that we could perhaps do as YouTube clips. Anyway, I was going to say that I'm well underway with it now. I've got the first series sorted out, which you didn't know about, which because you've been on holiday. But now I have done it. While I've been away, I have been hard at it, and I'm
Fantastic.
really pleased with them. The idea is worked out really well, Steve, because these aren't sort of full-on demonstrations that um, with an expertise. They are more basic. You know what I mean? So we can put them out as basic demonstrations that everybody can do. And this is the idea. We want to bring more people into the fold.
Mm,
So I'm well away with that, and you're going to be delighted when you see them.
fantastic. Oh, I look forward to it. I look forward to it. Yeah, so because we've got a lot of projects in the pipeline already that are in the editing process, so there's a lot coming out there. So it gives us a chance to focus on some of the basics now, rather than full blown complex pictures. We can kind of take people
Mm,
through demonstrating the basic techniques and some of the effects that you can get on YouTube,
mm,
where our biggest audience is. So if you're
mm,
not a member and you're not learning by doing the full pictures, then you can get a lot from these demonstrations that you've been doing, Dad. I'm looking forward to putting them out there for everyone.
mm.
Mm.
Oh, I'm certain that they'll go well. It's a different slant from me. I mean, over the last couple of years, I've been getting cleverer and cleverer with the stuff I'm producing, as people can see. Fantastic work, but we mustn't really forget those people who really do are just starting out and think, "God, I can't do that because that's hard." And all for our very clever existing members, they're great.
Mm.
So we were kind of missing out a little bit on the introduction side,
Mm-hmm.
but now introducing people, almost going back to our starter pack idea, where people could do something,
Yeah.
simply, and it doesn't show up. The great thing about this is, and the feedback show will show this in a little while when you show the pictures, um, people are getting very good at what they're doing, and they're very close to being sort of semi-professional level. This is good, and we want to encourage people to do that. But we've still got to, everybody has to start somewhere, and that's where we want to emphasis at the present moment. But having said that, Steve, I've just been sorting out just before I came on the line to you a new picture, which is going back to the good stuff again, because I miss that. You can imagine, having spent a fortnight or so doing these others, I'm now itching to get my teeth into something,
Mm.
because it, it's challenging for me, and that's what I like.
Great.
So anyway, carry
Great
on, sir.
stuff. Excellent. Right, we'll crack straight on because I'm not feeling 100% since coming back from holiday, so you'll have to excuse me as this show. It'll probably be you, Dad, doing most of the talking, but you're the one with all the tips, so that's all that matters. If it was the
I
other
don't
way
mind it.
round, I don't think we'd have a show. So let's get going, and then I can go back to bed. The first one is from Kimberly, and Kimberly's done the brown bear tutorial, and the areas that she found challenging were the eyes and the fur. Not sure if I had laid down the fur pattern right. Also, the eye doesn't seem like it belongs on the bear. I think I could have made the eye a bit and the fur a bit more realistic. Maybe too much blending. Thank you so much for taking the time for feedback.
Absolutely. Well, I think you've done a fantastic job of the fur, and if it was a light brown furry bear, it would be great. But that's not the case, and as you picked out, we're looking at much deeper, stronger colours. if you were to do the stronger colours that I've got and follow the ideas that I have on mine, those eyes would look, or your eye would have looked even worse because it's too bright. And if you look at my bear, you hardly see the eye at all. And when I first did this picture from the start, I was conscious of that I had to hide the eye, so to speak. Now, when you do something like that, you've got to do it with the medium tones as opposed to the lighter tones. You see what I mean? So if we're looking at your bear for a moment, you would have put probably ivory in that, I would think, or light grey, and then you would have put the ochre in, and you would have then started to use the stronger tones for the pupil and the surround. Now with mine, I didn't start like that. I started with the medium tones to begin with. I didn't put the ivory on, and you've got to then start, because if you do that, you'll never get it dark enough. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is where your problem is. However, you've also got to match it with the fur around it. And had you done a dark eye like mine on your bear, it would look awful because you had a dark eye and light fur. So the two things got to work together. And the idea of your fur is really good. It's great, but you're a little bit probably afraid of going too dark. That's the problem we have, and it's always a bit scary when you start putting the really strong colours on. But that's the way you've got to be. And certainly if you look at the light fur on mine, it's not a million miles away from the light fur on yours in the same area. But look at the area below the ear and how dark that is, or around the eye, or the bottom underneath to the right of the eye, how dark. You can't have that light fur there to begin with, otherwise you'll never get it enough. This is where your problem is.
Okay.
It's a problem that you'll get over, because what I compliment you on is the depth you've got in there. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the 187 tone and the 283 tone, because that's where I got the dark colours from. But you've got to work the two together. You can't look at the eye and say, I'll have a light eye and dark fur. You can't have a dark fur with a light eye. It just won't work out. So you've got to put the two together. That's where your problem is.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Makes sense to me. I hope that helps Kimberly as well. That's good advice, Dad. Great. Okay. Next one is Jill's asking for some advice here on this picture she's got coming up. This is my latest commission and would appreciate some advice, re the background colour. I usually keep my backgrounds neutral rather than going for the greens and blues, etc. I go for a biscuity beige. However, I'm not sure if this would look right with this particular painting. What do you think, Dad?
I think you're absolutely right. You're very good, and we'll see a couple of yours later on where you've gone for the biscuity base. And I can see how that wouldn't work here, but I always look at the colour I'm using in the picture. Now, let's assume that you're going to make that dog the same colour. If you look at the 187s and the 283s again, we've just been talking about, those are colours you've got to use somewhere in the background. So what I would do in that background is I would probably use a grey as a starter, and probably a warm grey like 270. That would be my base colour for the background. On top of that, you could then put into it the 187s, for instance. You could even put a little bit of the 283, because having that light there, it will look right. It will look stronger. But I tend to do, you could put a little bit of grey in as well, the grey that you're using. I imagine, again, would be probably using the warm greys rather than the cool greys on this. If you look at the area below the chin, Steve, can you see that sort of nice tones there? That's it. Now imagine in the background.
Yeah.
Not quite, because more is much than that. It's like, well, we'll see it.
Oh, Dad, sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. Can
That's
you repeat that again? That about this colour down here, you were breaking up a little.
Okay. What I would do is use 270 and 187 into the and even a little bit of grey, and that will produce that colour.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is good. It would look good if you had that in the background. Certainly not the greens. No, I totally agree with you there. That would be totally foreign.
Colours that you've used in the paintings. So it must really
Steve,
be colours that you're using in the paintings.
Absolutely, yes. You mustn't be guided.
This is a nice general colour to go for. The 18. Do you say the 187?
Well, you've got to put the grey on first.
Yeah.
270 first. That's very important. If you have 270 and then 187 on top of that, you'll get that colour. Right. That tone. And you've got then if you're not using it 187 in the pic, I can't see how you wouldn't do. Then you can't do it. But I'm just giving you an idea. Had that you finished that dog as we see it now, then that colour would look very nice, I think.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think we got that. Thanks, Jill. Next picture from Sharon. Hi, Stephen Colin. I am attaching a photo of some artwork I recently finished, along with the original photo I used as a reference. My biggest issue was with the front paws and the pillows. Any suggestions are much appreciated.
Well, considering it's a very poor photograph, I think you've done extremely well. The only reservation I would have was that bright pink collar's a little bit in your face, and also the teeth are a little bit in your face. Here again, you've got to temper really some of the tones, and I would have tempered it down. I mean, you'd look at that collar on the photograph and think, that doesn't stand out very well. Compared with the colours around it, it's okay. But what you've done here, you've followed the colours that you see, the dark colours, and that's worked very well on your picture, I think. But I think you've just overdone it, the light colours. If you look at the picture on the body, below the ear, under the pinkish collar to the right of that, that is really nice toning. And I would have liked to have seen that everywhere else instead of the white. Do you see what I mean? How pleasant is that? Really nice. And so I think you need to temper it down a bit. That's all. It's just a little bit in your face.
Okay. What about the front paws? I don't think they're okay.
I can't really see anything wrong with them. Once again, you're following what you see, and that's all you've got. When you've got poor pictures, the pictures are not good, and they're very dark in this particular case. I'm assuming that looks like that on the photograph that you're looking at, and it's just the camera or the television or whatever you've got. Then you can only do what you do. I mean, the thing is, you must, when you're doing commission work for people, you've got to look at things like that and say, do I refuse to do the picture? Let's say, you asked me, Steve, what would you do had you done that picture? I'd have done the background virtually the same as you've done there, maybe just a touch lighter. That grey beige, that grey sort of greyish brownish background to it. I think it looks better than the picture the one you've got, because you've got too much contrast. It's too stark. Yeah. And the light pictures, I would have darkened them somewhat. I wouldn't have made them quite so bright. But I mean, this is what an artist does. He looks at something, or she looks at something, and says, how can I best represent the image? Because that's the art. The image, not background. Background is not important in itself, but it's important as a framework for the picture. So you've got to look at it like that. There's a lot to learn, an awful lot to learn, and we get there, and Sharon will get there, because you've got the ideas right. It's just you need to temper it a little bit.
Okay, great. Well, great work, Sharon. I hope those tips have helped, and I hope other people have found that that interesting as well. Thanks. Okay, last couple here from Jill. As we said, they were coming up. Jill says that she feels the second picture is a nicer nice painting all round. Re the colouring, pose, and lighting in the eyes. Do you think I could have done more to the first one to give it the same look? Maybe adding more lighting to the eyes. So I think it's the light that she's got in the second picture. She wants to try and replicate a little bit better in the first picture, the top one there. Any tips on the lighting there?
Certainly, I think the bottom picture is fine. Forget that; it's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That looks good. You've done a great job of it. One thing, though, I will pick up on, if I may. You know the colour that we were talking about on the bottom picture on the left.
Yes.
Jill's interpretation works brilliantly, doesn't it, with that animal?
Yes.
Now, that would not work with the first picture we looked at. But if you look at the photograph of the dog, look at the top ear against that colour, whether it's a settee or chair or whatever it is, or even grapes. That's it, Steve, there.
Yeah.
Now, that is a better colour. So this is what I was trying to get at earlier.
Yeah.
That's the time. If you imagine that with the grey, the light grey, 270 with 187, that's what it would look like, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Goes to the biscuit colour on the other side. So I'm sure Jill will find that very useful. Anyway, forget that. We've done that now. Let's go to the top one, which was the query. The photo, again, I think you've done really well with the eye. Wrong. Can part a small thing though. The eye on the right on your picture is looking slightly differently, or in a different direction to the one on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were to put it on one eye and slip it across to the other, you'll find that it's not working quite as it should do. Why, Cole? I'll tell you why. If you look at the photograph for a minute, and the right eye, or eye on the right-hand side, you've got just a little bit too much pupil showing on your photographic reference. It needs to be lifted slightly. I don't think you actually can pick that up. Can you pick that up, Steve,
You mean on here? There's a little bit too.
That's it.
Yeah.
On the other side, if you put the arrow on the other side of that pupil,
I'm sorry.
Eye.
Yeah.
The other side of that, just there, now just below the tip of that arrow, you'll find that it's just a little bit out. Now it's such fine adjustment that I cannot even begin to tell you how to do that. You've just got to work it. That's eye there is looking up to the right, where your eye is dropped slightly. But if you now keep looking at those eyes, and you'll see them, your photograph is slightly different, very slightly. And I've said this so many times when I've showed people when I've done eyes, critical that you actually spend quite a lot of time getting that right. And you can get it right. It's just a question of adjusting. And sometimes a slither, a fraction of a millimetre is all you need. And it pushes the eye back into position. If you look at let's forget the eye for a moment on that photograph. Go back to the eye on the animal.
Yeah.
Study both eyes and switch between one eye and the other. That is the right and the left on Jill's photograph, Jill's painting.
Mm-hmm.
You see, if you keep looking, you'll see the pupils are slightly different.
Yeah, ever so slightly, yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
I'm sure it immediately take a little bit of experience to see where that is wrong. If you look at suppose the easiest way I could tell you is if you look at the left eye, that is in a perfect position. Okay, the left eye. But the right eye is not. It's looking more forward.
Yeah.
So you need a little bit more light on the bottom left-hand side of that, and that will push up.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. Now, that is a really good lesson for everybody to look at, because when you first looked at that picture, I guarantee you there's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yes, yeah. It's a very fine
In
change.
fact, there is quite a lot wrong with it now. And now you're looking at, and poor old Jules thinking, oh my God, why didn't I see that?
There you go.
Even the light is slightly wrong. If you look at the highlight, the white light, that's slightly out as well. It should be slightly up and to the right, slightly. But if you do that, you've also got to remove the pupil slightly.
Wow.
Anyway, there we are. That's a good lesson, folks. That was worth tuning into this feedback, coach, just to have that pointed out.
I hope we got all that too. It was a little bit laggy on the connection, but I think we got all the necessary bits from you there, Dad. It might have been a bit broken, but I think people have still got that. So I think they'll still.
I heard it
found
all
that.
right, stick to my end.
Oh well, that's all right then. As long as you heard yourself. No, I think that's fine. I was just about grasping what you were saying there. So I hope others have got that too. It's a good lesson, and it's such a minor notice. It's very difficult to notice until someone points it out to you.
Well, again, this is the difference between looking at very fine, intricate detail like that as a professional, semi-professional artist, as an amateur. An amateur wouldn't even see that. They wouldn't understand what I was talking about. So this shows you where we're going with all of this.
Lovely work, Jill. Well done. I hope that's helped. I hope others have found that useful too. Well, that's all the submissions we have for this time. By all means, keep them coming in. Obviously, this is a feedback service only available to members of our website, and you can go to colinbradleyart.com to find out all about becoming a member. Join any of our plans and we'll give you feedback on your artwork. All you have to do is email it to us. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another feedback show, and back next week with a podcast. I'm going to go back to bed and sleep off the rest of this horrible ear infection that I've got, sadly, which is throwing me off. But I hope that we've been able to squeeze this show in, and I hope people have found it helpful. Didn't want to miss it. Didn't want to stop anyone from getting their feedback this week. So we've soldiered on.
Well, I'm sure everybody appreciates it, Steve,
as
well.
So I'm going to just upload this and then go back to sleep.
Okay.
Thanks, Dad.
That's all right, mate.
And thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Bye for now.